know if there's any evidence that engagement in music and theatre and performance has a health-enhancing impact?
I think there's overwhelming evidence for that, both from a social point of view, a psychological wellness point of view, but now, interestingly, from a biological point of view, about good changes in the brain. Music and exercise can cause changes in the brain, but you know, it's the social act of music that is most stimulating to the brain. Don't forget, your brain, although it's a mechanical sort of thing, things that are exciting and interesting to us actually can make new connections, can make things grow. So we should be thinking, well, don't forget, medicines can't make you better. They stabilise your brain enough for other things to make you better, and all these other things, including music, including exercise, are all part of what humans do.
3 years ago, I emceed a mental health consumer conference that had over 300 mental health consumers. When we broke into 3 small groups, by far the biggest group was the group looking at the role of faith and participation in churches or other faith communities in recovery. And I was able to listen in as an observer, because I was running a panel discussion later, and just heard the most passionate discussion about the practical help people had gained from their participation in churches. I only mention it because you don't hear professionals talk much about it.
How is the church experience different from everything else we've talked about in terms of getting together with groups of people, sort of supporting each other? Many places, even rural places in Australia, going to church is not so much to do with a particular faith or worship, although the people may believe that. It's the fact that everyone can come together and interact. Now, if you are religious and you do have a particular faith, great. But I mean, sometimes one might consider the functions of various religious organisations is going to be good for people independent of whether they believe or not.
My daughter has been involved in religiosity, and unfortunately it can become too much participation, part of her obsessive compulsive disorder.
What can we do to improve physical health and, of course, mental health? Well, we live in a culture that doesn't have song and dance as part of our daily life. Many cultures have and maintain reasonably good health as a result of it because they can express themselves that way. One of the problems for people with schizophrenia is they do not have a voice. When they try to speak to someone, people say, you know, they can't stand what they're talking about, or they don't want to know, etc. Linda Mizzi nailed it for me when she said there's something inside everybody needing to get out. Well, I think it's a voice. Tim Lambert said to me just earlier on, we know that music and exercise can repair the brain. Jonathan Welsh has shown us through the Choir of Hard Knocks just how healing music can be. I'd like to see community musical groups sprouting up for people with mental illness to come and sing their little hearts out.
It really is about what the person's looking for. So I know that some of your audience members have talked about being a part of a men's group or joining a clubhouse or going to their local community centre, and our thoughts were that people connect with what makes sense to them. So the men's group, it would be a group of men. In your local community centre, it would be the connection of people who live in a local neighbourhood. Things like clubhouse or the day-to-day living program, the connection between people will be that they've experienced mental health issues. And so it really is, there are choices and options available for people. It's about finding them. And if people are struggling, a good place to start is to type in MIFA into your Google, Mental Illness Fellowship Australia, and look for your local member and find out what's available. Or MIFA members are really good at connecting you with other support services as well.
So I've written all the sorts of things that I expected people would raise today about what improves your physical health: a good relationship with your general practitioner, a group to do your exercise with, do not smoke, monitoring of the risk factors, for example, overweight, eating too much, not moving enough, reviewing the medication, support from friends, peer support, move more, eat less, family and carer support, self-respect and advocacy for yourself. We've talked about social connection, we'll talk about work in a moment, friends, and raising physical health as an issue with your doctor.
we are literally all there to, we're being paid to provide you with services, and you've got to ask for them. You've got to say, I deserve as good physical health as anybody else.